How do we shift from the choice, the fruit that most people choose to eat, the knowledge of good and evil? Okay, this way of thinking, this selfish, self-centered, legalistic mentality, following our own plans, worshiping ourselves, living from our minds, eating from this fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. How do we shift from this, what most people choose, to this, to following Jesus Christ, truly following Jesus Christ? And so what we did last week is we compared our first Adam, who is Adam and Eve, with the second Adam, who is Jesus Christ. Okay, now the first Adam, Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. You know the story, how the serpent met Eve in the garden and told her that all she needed to do is eat some of this fruit, this forbidden fruit, the one thing, the one tree, and all of the earth that God said, do not eat. Do not eat this, Adam and Eve, because this is bad for you. It will kill you. And the serpent met Eve and said, oh, you don't need to believe that. You don't need to follow God's silly rule. If you eat this fruit, you will be just like God. You will know everything. You will have knowledge of good and evil. And Eve thought that sounded good. And so she decided to take a bite out of this fruit, and then she gave it to Adam, and he made the same decision. And when they did that, their relationship with God was severed. Okay, so we compared this first garden, our first Adam in the Garden of Eden. We compared that scene, that situation, with our second Adam, who is Jesus Christ. And he grappled with the very same question in a garden as well. This was in the Garden of Gethsemane, the night that he was arrested. And when he was there, he was praying, he was pouring out his heart and his soul to his Father, God. He was so distressed that he was sweating blood. And he told his disciples, I am in despair. And as he's praying, he is grappling with the same question. And the first option is the same thing that the first option Adam and Eve were given, and that is to partake from this tree of the knowledge of good and evil, to reject God's plan for his life. Because you see, Jesus knew that God's plan involved something really, really hard, really, really painful that he did not want to do. In his flesh, Jesus did not want to go to the cross because he knew how terrible it was going to be. And he didn't sin by doing this because he wanted, let me turn that light on. I wonder, I'm thinking, why is it so dark in here? Jesus, in his flesh, he did not want to go through this painful, terrible thing. So, and that's not a sin. He wanted to obey God, but he knew how hard and difficult this was going to be. And he asked God. We know this because he asked God, please, God, if there's any way this cup could pass from me, let it be so. So he grappled with this. Is there any way? He could have made this decision. Jesus could have decided not to die. He could have decided not to follow God's plan. But we all know what he did. He decided that no matter how hard it was, no matter how much his flesh did not want to do it, he was going to partake of this fruit. He was going to follow God's plan for his life. And that is exactly what he did. And the way that he did it was to tell God this. He said, God, not my will, but yours be done. Not my will, but yours be done. And that is the secret for all of us, to follow Jesus's example in order to shift from this kind of thinking, the knowledge of good and evil, living for ourselves, and shift over from that, the way of death, into the way of life. It is to say the same thing to God that Jesus said in the Garden of Gethsemane. God, not my will, but yours be done. Even if it's hard, even if I don't understand, even if I don't like it at first, God, I will follow you. Jesus, I will follow your plan for my life. I will give up my right to have my own plans and worship myself and think I know better than you, God, and I will follow you no matter what. That's what Jesus said. That's what we've got to say. And that is the secret. That is how you surrender and you submit your life to Jesus.